Hey guys, Sammy here with a reaction after Fulham's 3-0 win over West Brom. What a massive, massive win for the Whites. It gives us a lovely cushion in second place. Sorry I haven't done as many of these reaction videos as I'd planned. Been a busy kind of couple of months for me personally, but hoping to get one of these done at least for all the weekend matches coming up for Fulham. And delighted with the result yesterday. That's obvious. It was a good performance. I don't think it's Fulham at their best, but I think that Fulham just seem to be blowing away teams, not quite in second gear at the moment, but the way that we've scored 7 goals past West Brom and Nottingham Forest, West Brom obviously third in the league, Forest after winning 5 in a row is so impressive. And the fact that we don't actually have to perform unbelievably to get those wins. We're just so clinical at the moment and taking our chances so brilliantly. That's a lovely position to be in. I still think there's more to give from this Fulham team, and that's a pretty exciting place for us Fulham fans to be in. And we've got to start with the main man, Aleksandar Mitrovic, another hat-trick, 18 goals in 15 games. I think he's on course to score more than 50 goals this season if he keeps up the record that he's on. I mean, what is that? Well, it's just sensational. It's ridiculous how good he is at this level. Obviously, I think he's learned this division now and he's just the master at it. And look, the first was a penalty. It's a dodgy penalty. I'm not going to come on here as a Fulham fan and say that that should be a pen. It just isn't. It's a little bit clumsy from Bartley, but he gets so much of the ball. However, the challenge that he then makes on Odoi straight afterwards, if you watch it, once the decision has been given, to be fair, I think is a lot clumsier and has the potential to be a penalty. I don't think it's stonewall, but I think it's way more of a penalty than the decision on Mitrovic. And that puts us in the driving seat. Look, we seem to be very, very good once we go into the lead, particularly at Craven Cottage this season, of then grinding down teams. Teams have to attack us more. It leaves more spaces open at the back. But that wasn't how the second goal came about, was it? Big mistake from Robert Snodgrass, pressed well by John McElserry. To be fair, at the time, I actually wondered if John McElserry got a touch on that back pass from Snodgrass, but he didn't. But it clearly put off Snodgrass enough to not realise where Mitrovic is. And a lot of people might see some of the goals that Mitrovic has scored lately. There's the one against Cardiff. There's the one against Forest. The second goal he scored against Forest. Sorry, the first goal he scored against Forest. And then the goal against West Brom yesterday. And you might say, oh, Mitrovic is getting lucky. It's the anticipation for that second goal. So many strikers in the Championship would just not react fast enough or smell the danger well enough to be in the right position for that goal. But Mitrovic is clearly just so on form at the moment. And Marcus Silva said that that's something they've worked on in training, is improving his anticipation so that he sniffs out chances and gets those extra goals. You know, he was already pretty potent, but the fact that Marcus Silva and his team have been working on getting Mitrovic even more prolific is amazing. And I think that is a big part for the run that he's on. And he's just so happy. That celebration when he gets the hat-trick in front of the Hammersmith end, if that's not his statue in 10 years' time, then I will be extremely, extremely sad. He loves it here. What a player. Look, the debate will possibly rumble on forever, particularly if he keeps up the scoring rate against Mitrovic, against other legendary strikers, the likes of Louis Saha. And look, maybe Louis Saha was a better overall player. Probably was. But do I prefer Aleksandar Mitrovic as a kind of club legend, an icon? I would say so. He's reaching that kind of level for me, particularly if he keeps up this scoring run. And I just pray that he doesn't get injured. My dad raised a good point yesterday of like, who could Muniz right now adequately replace Mitrovic? And I think he's one for the future, and he hasn't really got a run in the team yet, but I think Fulham would be in serious trouble if we got an injury to Mitrovic. So let's keep him wrapped in cotton wool. Let's not play him more than we need to play him. I think if we're winning games 3-0 like we are yesterday, bring him off. Just keep him rested fresh. He's got a big international break coming up for Serbia, and they could potentially qualify for the World Cup if they win their final game against Portugal, and I'm sure he'll be an integral part of that. So I guess we're just going to have to hold our breath during those matches, particularly those international matches, that he stays fit, because right now he is just a cheat code at this level. And what it means for Fulham going forward, well, yes, a 4-point gap between ourselves and West Brom. I think that's hugely important. I think if we can now extend that lead and build on it, I think this is the time of year where title charges are made. And that result was a massive, impactful result in Fulham trying to make a proper assault at the top two. Look, Bournemouth have had an incredible start. I think it's the best start to a league since the early 2000s. I think actually maybe since Fulham's start back in 2000. I think Fulham had one more point at this stage of the season than Bournemouth did, which just shows the run they're on. And look, I'm not Scotty Parker's biggest fan for the way he left, but the way that he has got this Bournemouth side playing, they've got some fantastic players. That's going to be one hell of an obstacle for Fulham to overcome. And that match at the beginning of December is looming large. It's going to be a huge, huge match if both sides kind of keep up this run that they're on. And quite frankly, I don't see many sides beating Bournemouth, just like I don't see many sides at the moment challenging Fulham in the form that they're in. There's twists and turns. It's the Championship. It's unpredictable, but the evidence is looking more and more clear by the day that it's looking like a Bournemouth-Fulham 1-2 battle for the top. And look, I'm all here for it. And if we can just keep West Brom at bay, if they pick up a couple of more poor results like they have recently away from home, then yeah, it's looking really, really good for Fulham. We're going to miss Tosin Adarabioyo. I think that it was definitely the correct decision, a red card for him yesterday. I think that in the modern game, if you go and studs up like that on the ankle, it's always going to be a red card, and we're definitely going to miss him. I really want Michael Hector, I think, to come in and deputise for Tosin when he's out. I love Alfie Mawson. I think he's one of the best defenders at the club, but I'm not loving the Ream-Mawson partnership. I think it's just doesn't work. It really didn't work in that game against Coventry. And we've seen that Ream and Hector is a great partnership. It was in the second half of the Championship. Only 2 seasons ago, it was a fantastic, fantastic unity they had at the back. And you know, he seems fitter than he was at the beginning of the season, Michael Hector. And that would be the partnership that I would go for these next 3 matches. Blackburn on Wednesday is a really tricky match. I think they're just inside the playoffs. They got a win at Derby yesterday, and they're going to have to keep Ben Brereton Diaz quiet. Chile's main man at Ewood Park. It's a tricky place to go. Wednesday night, going to be probably cold, wet, windy. It's going to be a real test of Fulham's mettle. And then after that, there's a nice run of fixtures on paper. Peterborough, Barnsley, Derby, all sides in the bottom 5 of the division. And you would say games that Fulham should be looking to pick up points and kind of extend this run against. I think Blackburn's really difficult. Right now, I'd probably take a draw. If it meant that then we went and won those games afterwards, I don't think that would be the end of the world at all. So a massive, massive month coming up for Fulham. Yesterday, though, has set us up for it perfectly. Let us know what you think of the game from yesterday in the comments, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. As I said, going to keep trying to do more reactions after games as possible, and enjoy your start to the week, winning start to the week. Podcast also coming out later with myself, Ben, Jack and Coops. Going to be a good one. You whites.